The American department store was not just a place to shop, it was an anchor. The building around which entire malls were organized, the institution that told a community it mattered enough to have something large and permanent and full of everything you might need. In 2026, the category is in freefall. Retail advisory firm Coresight Research reported that store closures in 2025 escalated to approximately 15,000, more than 67% higher than the previous year. The United States has approximately 24 square feet of shopping space per person, nearly 5 times more than Canada or Germany. The department store built that overcapacity, and the department store is now paying for it. These are the 9 department stores falling apart in 2026. Number 9, Belk. Belk is a southern regional department store chain with approximately 300 locations, primarily in the Southeast and Mid-Atlantic. It is also, according to retail analysts, the department store chain most likely to disappear entirely in the next few years. Industry expert Nick Egelanian, president of retail development firm SiteWorks, has called Belk a laggard that is destined to close down entirely. The company cannot achieve the scale of Macy's, cannot command the luxury positioning of Nordstrom, and cannot compete on price with the off-price retailers that have taken market share from mid-tier department stores. Belk filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy in 2021, restructured and emerged. But emergence from bankruptcy does not solve the underlying problem. The analysts who watch the category are not optimistic about what comes next. Number 8, Dillard's. Dillard's is one of the few department store chains that has actually managed its decline with discipline. It has closed underperforming locations, focused its merchandise on higher margin categories, and maintained profitability in quarters when its competitors were losing money. But even Dillard's is shrinking. The chain closed a store in early 2026, adding to a pattern of selective but consistent contraction. Dillard's is not at risk of imminent collapse. It is a well-run company in a structurally declining category. What it cannot do is arrest the structural decline of the format itself. Number 7, Nordstrom. In May 2025, the Nordstrom family completed a $6.25 billion deal to take the company private, partnering with Mexican retail giant El Puerto de Liverpool. Going private removes public market scrutiny and gives the family time to restructure without having to justify each decision to shareholders. But going private does not change the underlying environment. In spring 2026, Nordstrom confirmed the closure of 2 full-line department store locations, one at the Galleria Dallas Mall in Texas, one at the Christiana Mall in Delaware, marking a complete exit from the state. The Nordstrom rack off-price format is expanding, but full-line Nordstrom is contracting. The family bought themselves time. Whether they bought themselves survival is a different question. Number 6, JCPenney. JCPenney has been in managed decline for so long that each new development in its story feels like a variation on a theme that started in 2011. The Catalyst Brands merger of January 2025 combined JCPenney with Spark Group's portfolio, Aeropostale, Brooks Brothers, Eddie Bauer, Lucky Brand, Nautica, and Forever 21 into a single retail entity. The result, according to observers, was the second-largest department store bankruptcy of the current cycle almost immediately after the merger closed. JCPenney closed 8 stores in 2025. Brooks Brothers has been through bankruptcy. Forever 21 went through bankruptcy a second time in 2025. Eddie Bauer filed for bankruptcy in February 2026. What this means for JCPenney is that the institution that has anchored American malls since 1902 is now part of a corporate structure whose other components are actively failing. Before we get to the top 5, consider the scale of what is happening to American department store real estate. The department store was designed to be an anchor tenant. When a department store closes, the mall loses its anchor. Without the anchor, foot traffic declines. Without foot traffic, smaller retailers cannot survive. The domino effect of a single department store closure can hollow out an entire shopping center. Number 5. Kohl's. In January 2025, Kohl's announced the closure of 27 underperforming stores across 15 states. Then, in May 2025, Kohl's fired CEO Ashley Buchanan for cause following a vendor conflict of interest. The company explicitly ruled out further closures for 2026 during its fourth quarter results. But analysts are not convinced. Kohl's had tried partnerships with Sephora and Amazon to drive foot traffic. Neither fully arrested the decline. The structural challenges, middle market consumers trading down to discount chains, younger shoppers choosing online, the gradual erosion of the value proposition, are not solved by a CEO change or a temporary pause in closures. What Kohl's needs is a reason for consumers to choose it over TJ Maxx, over Amazon, over Target. That reason has become increasingly difficult to articulate. Number 4. Saks Global. Saks Global is the entity created when Saks Fifth Avenue, Neiman Marcus, and Bergdorf Goodman were combined under a single ownership structure. It was supposed to be a luxury retail powerhouse. In January 2026, Saks Global filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. At the time of the filing, the company still had unpaid invoices from suppliers going back months. Its stores had been losing vendors, employees, and customers to competitors, particularly Bloomingdale's and Nordstrom. The bankruptcy filing listed estimated assets and liabilities in the billions. Luxury department stores are supposed to be the most resilient part of the category. If a consumer is spending $3,000 on a handbag, they will drive to wherever the handbag is. But Saks Global had managed to make even luxury retail unprofitable. The bankruptcy of a luxury department store conglomerate is one of the more surprising retail stories of 2025 and 2026. Number 3. Macy's. Macy's bold new chapter strategy called for closing approximately 150 underperforming stores through fiscal 2026. As of March 2026, the CFO disclosed that the program had been extended through 2028. By early 2026, approximately 80 locations had been closed. In Lima, Ohio, the Macy's Tower at Lima Mall was demolished in January 2025. Locals gathered to watch it come down. Allen County Commissioner Brian Wingardner said, "You have to make way for the future and future development." Target purchased the property for $4.5 million and is building a replacement store. Macy's is not failing in the way that Saks Global is failing, but the direction of its footprint is irreversibly downward. 150 closures through 2028, 350 go-forward stores. After that, how many more? Number 2. Hudson's Bay. Hudson's Bay Company was founded in 1670. It is the oldest company in North American retail history. For 355 years, it operated as a commercial enterprise, fur trading, then retail, then department stores. The Bay, as Canadians called it, was a national institution. In March 2025, Hudson's Bay filed for bankruptcy and announced it would liquidate. Every store closed. 355 years of continuous commercial operation ended. The proximate causes were familiar: debt, declining foot traffic, competition from online retail, the difficulty of maintaining large-format department stores in an era when consumers have more options than ever. But Hudson's Bay had survived recessions, world wars, demographic shifts, and decades of rising e-commerce before finally running out of road. If a company that survived for 355 years cannot survive the current retail environment, that tells you something about how severe the structural change is. Number 1, not a single chain, a format. The department store as an American institution is ending. Not quickly and not completely. Macy's will still be open in 2030, and so will Nordstrom and Dillard's. But the era in which the department store was the organizing principle of American retail is over. The United States has 24 square feet of retail space per person. Canada has 5. Germany has 5. The United States built a retail infrastructure that the rest of the world looked at and said, that is too much. And the department store was the engine of that overbuilding. Now the correction is happening. What is replacing them is not nothing. Amazon is replacing them. TJ Maxx and Ross are replacing them. Aldi and Costco are replacing them. The consumer still wants to buy things. The consumer just does not want to buy things in the format that the department store offered. The department store offered breadth, a vast selection of everything in one building. The internet offers breadth at a scale no physical store can match. The department store offered discovery, wandering the aisles and finding something you did not know you needed. Social media and algorithm-driven recommendation engines have taken that function. The 9 chains on this list are not all failing for the same reason. Saks Global failed because of debt and management dysfunction. JCPenney failed because of decades of strategic errors. Nordstrom went private to buy time. Macy's is rationalizing a footprint built for a different era. But underneath each of those specific stories is the same structural reality. The American department store as a category is in managed decline. Some chains will survive longer than others. Some will find new forms, smaller, more focused, more experiential. But the era of the large format, full assortment, anchor tenant department store is ending. And the malls it leaves behind will have to figure out what comes next. 20 years ago, you could not have predicted that Sears would disappear. 10 years ago, you could not have predicted that Hudson's Bay would close every store. 5 years ago, you could not have predicted that Saks Fifth Avenue would file for bankruptcy. The retail landscape moves faster than anyone anticipates. The brands that feel permanent are not. Subscribe before the next video because the story keeps changing, and it is almost never changing in the direction anyone expected.